Alright everyone, NPC Unknown here and welcome to the channel. And in this video, we're looking at a theory I've seen online stating that God of War Ragnarok's Thor may not be Kratos' biggest threat. Even though Thor has been teased as God of War Ragnarok's main villain by Santa Monica Studios, bigger threats are likely laying in wait for Kratos. So let's have a look. As a sequel to one of the PS4's most defining exclusives, expectations surrounding God of War Ragnarok were always going to be high. Thanks to alleged leaks recently, and very little news coming from the studio, the atmosphere has been a little bit tense surrounding the game. While Santa Monica Studios has remained coy, seemingly in an attempt to shield its employees from hype, others have continued to allude to its expected 2022 release date. Despite ever-increasing pressure, no official news has actually been shared. One of the reasons why fans are so eager on that front, though, has a lot to do with God of War Ragnarok's epic narrative and the fights that Kratos is expected to engage in as a result of it. Even though Santa Monica Studios' marketing campaign has focused on Thor in this department, there are reasons to believe the iconic Norse god of thunder won't be Ragnarok's big bad. With an ever-increasing list of characters out to make Kratos suffer, there are 3 others he should be even more cautious around. Thor's threat status. Considering how Thor has already taken up a predominant role in God of War Ragnarok's marketing, and was even featured at the end of the last game's adventure, plenty of fans are expecting the god to be one of Kratos' biggest adversaries in the sequel. There are arguable good reasons for this, based on how Santa Monica has already established his genocidal past. While he could still feature prominently, there is a growing list of reasons why he likely won't be the ultimate villain of the game. Based on scenes that Thor has been in, or has been featured in so far, all take place outside of Kratos and Atreus' home, looking like at the end of Fimbulwinter. It looks as though he arrives to confront the pair very early on in Ragnarok. This suggests the God of Thunder might take up a role in proceedings similar to Poseidon in the start of God of War 3, while there's also every chance he could pop up in multiple stages, much like Baldur in the 2018 adventure. Having a decisive boss fight at the start of the game would be the perfect way to set things going right. It's worth keeping in mind that it seems unlikely that the studio, Santa Monica Studios, will include Mjolnir into God of War canon without letting Kratos play around with it. This could suggest that Thor will eventually make way for a bigger threat, so that the Greek God of War can cut loose with a shiny new toy. Even though Marvel has played around with the idea that characters have to be worthy to lift the hammer, this wasn't always the case in Norse mythology. After all, Thor was virtually irredeemable as a person, which leaves the door wide open for Kratos to claim it for himself. Odin could be the real threat. Taking a look at the laundry list of characters that will be out to kill Kratos in God of War Ragnarok suggests that Santa Monica Studio has employed some clever misdirection tactics in its marketing. Throughout the previous game, for example, the studio made it clear that it was actually Odin pulling all the strings behind the scenes. Having dispatched Baldur to hunt down Atreus out of paranoia for the role he believes the boy will play in the apocalypse, it stands to reason that on some level he will remain the overarching threat to Kratos in the sequel. Even though Odin has a reputation for being a tactical genius capable of manipulating every situation in his favor, that doesn't mean he was a hands-off ruler in Norse mythology. Underneath his elderly appearance and the moniker as the god of wisdom, Odin was also said to be victorious in countless battles, with lightning, magic, and cunning all on his side. There are reasons to believe that the god will prove to be a physical match for Kratos. It's worth keeping in mind the fact that he kept a pantheon in order that included the likes of Thor, suggesting he must be equally powerful and dangerous. Atreus' potential threat. Thanks to 2018's God of War's closing moments, it looks as though Atreus could prove to be his father's undoing in some shape or form in the upcoming sequel. After all, the mural painted across Jotunheim's walls in the Santa Monica Studios' last game suggests that Atreus will one day stand over Kratos' lifeless body. Factors like the pair's already fractured relationship and the former's status as Loki among the giants could both lead the duo into direct conflict with each other as Ragnarok approaches. Throwing in the God of War franchise's well-established tradition of patricide, things could look even bleaker for the father-son team. Even if Atreus ends standing by Kratos during God of War Ragnarok's closing moments, this act itself could still put the incumbent Greek God of War in danger, having to protect his son at all costs at the expense of his own well-being. Lastly, we have Freya's quest for revenge. Theoretically, even with the likes of Odin vying for Kratos' blood, it would make more sense if Freya proved to be the biggest threat in his life in God of War Ragnarok, thanks to the last game's exploration of Norse mythology and the fact that Asgard fears her. It's already been established that the goddess associated with war and death is a force to be reckoned with, thanks to her mastery of magic and cunning. It wouldn't all be surprising if she eventually proves herself to be more than a match for Kratos in the fight. When it comes to narrative themes, there's arguably an even bigger reason why fans should look out for Freya during God of War Ragnarok's closing chapters, thanks to the grief that she's currently experiencing due to Baldur's death. Thematically speaking, Freya's personal journey has started to mirror Kratos' early life, with the Greek god of war having to cut through an entire pantheon during his quest for revenge on the PS2 and PS3. It stands to reason that Freya will be prepared to go to the same dark place to destroy Kratos' life. God of War Ragnarok is still in development and is scheduled for release on the PS4 and PS5 in 2022. That's it for this video. Thank you very much for taking time to watch it. Please like, comment, and subscribe. From me to you, this video is game over.